Hey trainers, Alakaham here with some more Pokemon video magic, and we are toward the end of our season in Pokemon Go, and we've got something called the Catch Cup running right now, which is where you can use Pokemon that you've caught within the last couple of months, I guess. I didn't look exactly into the time period. Some people build entirely new versions of Pokemon that they already have in order to perform well here. I'm not going to worry about that so much, but I had enough Pokemon to put together a team that I thought could hypothetically work, and this has done okay for me. It does have a little bit harder time as I climbed a little bit higher as I got into the 2200 ELO range, and so I started switching over to Master League, where I was performing a little bit better there and could maintain kind of my ELO range instead of dropping. But the idea here is that I have a Galarian Moltres, and I have a newly acquired Giratina altered Shadow, right, which is pretty cool. This is something that came out of the most recent Go Rocket event. And my Giratina both has iffy IVs and is not fully built because I don't actually have the candy to give it a additional charge move right now. But it's a pretty common strategy having Dark and Ghost together, and I figured that I could make those two things work, but they are both very weak to Fairy, and so I needed stuff that beats Fairy. Well, Fire and Poison are both pretty good against Fairy types, and it just so happens that I finally, after like more than a year of trying to get a Salazzle, was able to get a Salazzle. I can't remember if that's the big one or the small one. I got the female version of the small one from an egg so that I could eventually evolve it into the big form. So I am leading with the Salazzle thing as my Pokemon up front to try and deal with any Fairy types. We've got a Fire type fast move with Incinerate, and then we've got our Poison type charge move with Poison Fang. It's also a debuff move, which is helpful if I need to just kind of throw a move and dip. And so that's kind of the strategy. If I don't hit a Fairy up front, swap out to Giratina or Moltres, and then go from there. So as you can see, I was able to take match number 1, and it was a tight game, but we were able to do it. This game, I did not play things very well. I forgot about the poison typing on my Salazzle, and so I should have swapped out immediately, and I didn't. And now we've run into an interesting situation. This fast move from the Hippowdon is not going to do all that much damage, but it does have access to a rock type Weather Ball, and so that will do super effective damage against flying types here. Unfortunately for my opponent, they do run into some technical difficulties there. Maybe they stalled out or their game froze or something. I've had a lot of trouble with screen stuttering and all kinds of visual glitches in Go Battle League this week, and it has been really irritating. So I paused for a few seconds there to see if I could give my opponent the opportunity to kind of catch up, but it doesn't look like they were going to be reconnected to their game. I think that even taking that Weather Ball, I would have been able to be very threatening to the Hippowdon with my Galarian Moltres, and that would have put me in a much better position against the Malamar. Malamar is challenging anyway. It is a serious core breaker for this team because it has neutral to super effective damage for all 3 of my Pokemon, but I feel okay about being able to handle the Hisuian Quillfish in the back. Sorry that this is kind of slow going for a minute, but I record whole movesets or whole games together, right? Whole sets together. So you just get the 5 games that I played organically. I'm not cobbling together any games from like across different sets for you. So you're just getting exactly what I played and how it got played exactly in the moment, right? So we're going to go into game number 3 here. Same team, leading with Salazzle. And we come across a Giratina. Both of my Pokemon in the back do okay here. I'm going to safe swap into Galarian Moltres because I think it gives me more flexibility in play against potential counters. My opponent brings in a Scissor. Not an amazing counter to a flying type. Shadow Scissor's fast move does hit really hard. Those bullet punches, newly boosted this season, are hitting pretty hard. I know the charge move isn't going to do all that much, and I'm counting on being able to get to another move. So I figure I can either shield, or get the last shield, or I can knock it out. And then Salazzle is able to come in, and those Incinerates chonk. Like, they hit so hard because Scissor is so weak to fire. Now, I don't mind having Salazzle against the Giratina shields down because I am running Dragon Pulse as a secondary move here, and my offense is really high. So, bam, we are going to knock out that Giratina. And then it looks like they have a Lapras in the back. Salazzle really does not want much to do with Psychic-type fast moves. You saw that we were taking lots of damage from Psywave in the last game when we were up against a Malamar, but I'm able to survive long enough to debuff the Lapras. Therefore, I can bring in the Giratina and be very confident that we can get to a couple of Dragon Claws and or Farm Down before my opponent is able to hit me with 2 Ice Beams. So that went over fairly well. Into game number 4 now. And we've got Salazzle into Klefki. This is looking good up front because Klefki is Steel and Fairy. But now we have a problem because my opponent has brought in a Dunsparce. Looks like they had 5, maybe 6 rollouts there. I'm going to let the first Rock Slide through. That's 6 or 7. Let's generously say 7. I'm going to throw the Fly. They shield. That's fine. If we get to another Fly, I think we're doing pretty good there. 7, 8, 9. Maybe 10 generously. I don't know if they have back-to-back or not. Let's say they have 11 and then they used up 4 there. So they're pretty stacked. They've got lots of energy here. And I'm going to go ahead and shield. I think they should be at 6 or 7 here, but apparently I keep recounting this, and I must have been in some different kind of headspace when I was playing the game. I did not think that they had the back-to-backs, otherwise I would have sent in the Giratina, but I really thought I'd be able to farm down with Salazzle. Anyway, I misplayed that. Salazzle would have been what we wanted up against the Klefki here, and Giratina really has nowhere to go against Klefki. I should have been thinking about that anyway, but there you go. I was thinking that I'd be able to farm down with those Incinerates, and it just didn't work out quite how I wanted it to. You know, you don't play perfectly every time, right? Actually, I play perfectly very little of the time, if ever. So you just do your best, I guess. And that's part of the game. So unfortunately, we get a Dunsparce up front here, and Dunsparce is terrible for this team. I'm going to go ahead and throw the Poison Fang to try and debuff, and they do let it go through. I'm going to have to shield because definitely either of those charge moves knock out the Salazzle, like no question. So we're going to aim to get the shield back. And watching this back, what I'm thinking right now is that I am playing a very dangerous game because I have no idea if there is a Fairy anywhere on this team. I've got to swap out immediately, and I figure Giratina is the safest choice because I know that I can come back in with Moltres and do really well against the Claydol as long as I don't get hit by an Ice Beam. Rock Tomb would also hurt pretty badly, but it's not going to knock out So my opponent also has a Galarian Moltres, and they get a lot of energy there. I'm going to have to come in with the Salazzle, and at this point, I'm thinking that the more important thing for me is to get their shield, and usually people are more willing to give their shields if I've already given one up. So they didn't know what I had in the back, and I went ahead and came in with the Galarian Moltres to try and start getting ahead on energy. My opponent is going to hit me with a Rock Tomb, and that is not ideal, but we're going to build up a little bit of energy, and even debuffed, we've chunked so much damage already that a fly should be able to take them out, and fortunately they do not have a move yet, so we are going to get to this Ancient Power for some super effective damage against the opposing Moltres, and even debuffed, we're going to be able to take that game. So good game to my opponent. And because we stalled out, I did put together another variant of this team where I am running Double Dragon instead of Ghost and Dark as the strategy. So here you go. This is just a little bonus game where I am using Regidrago in place of Galarian Moltres. So this is a fairly good start because I had a poison type there, but I went ahead and swapped out just to see what else my opponent had. Regidrago is pretty thick, so even up against Pokemon that do fairly well against it, it can hang in there for a minute and chunk some damage. They're going to throw Dragon Energy, and my opponent decides to block that move. I don't think Regidrago knows anything that would be just super threatening to the Dedenne, but that's okay. My opponent obviously wants to win Switch, and I can understand why, and they want to keep their Dedenne very healthy here, particularly if they know that they're going to have to deal with this Salazzle. Salazzle cannot tank any damage. Salazzle is like one of the most breakable Pokemon I've ever played with. Fortunately, we're able to get to this Poison Fang before they get to their next Parabolic Charge, so we are able to stay up a shield. And interestingly, my opponent brings back in the Primeape, even though the Primeape is not particularly strong against Salazzle as a poison type. We're going to throw that Poison Fang again to knock out the Primeape, and then my opponent has a Drapion in the back. So I catch what I hope is an Aqua Tail. Yeah, so I counted that right. Crunch is going to do a lot more damage, but I really just need to survive long enough to get a Dragon Claw through and kind of chunk my opponent. And I need them to be energy dry so that I have the opportunity to get to my next charge move on the Salazzle. Fortunately, I am able to get to another Dragon Claw, and this works just as well, so we're finally able to knock out and take that game. So I like the Double Dragon variation on this too. Hope you've had fun watching this Catch Cup video. Please subscribe if you would like to see more videos. Leave me a like if you enjoyed what I was doing here, and I would love to be able to talk with you as a part of the Pokemon Go community in the comments as well. Thanks for watching. I hope to have more videos ready for you soon. Until next time, trainers.